Why, hello, you beautiful souls out there. Welcome to a special early rendition of our Wednesday Satsang. Now, there is a beautiful opportunity here in this process of self-realization and self-mastery that we're exploring, because the most fundamental and important piece to really remember is that these are two sides of the same coin. That without self-realization, we can never really become those masters of self. And without this application and assimilation of this self-realization, we never really harness self-mastery to its full extent to lead back into more opportunities for self-realization. Remember, this is an infinite onion. Awakening isn't something where you really plateau or reach a peak. There's no end in this journey. You're always going to be on this inner search, because that definition of me, that understanding of self, your window of awareness, the divine, it's always going to become more and more intimate with each unfoldment. So we're going to jump right into it. Get your last few wiggles out. Shake it out. Any of that stress or tension of the day, just kind of get a few wiggles in. And before we begin, I lovingly invite you into that space of the heart, that throne of the soul, that gateway and portal, the essence of the self itself. When you hear the first 3 taps of the singing bowl, take a nice deep breath in. As you exhale, relax the jaw, lower the mouth, and release a mighty Om. Allow that A note to resonate, and as you close the mouth, the U and the M will form naturally. Begin by releasing your breath and taking a deep exhale here. Fall in love with this inner looking, this effortless state of being, that innate state of who and what you are already. Come to let down and let go all assumptions, preconceptions, and conditionings, to fully and be here in this moment, the eternal now. Recognize as we explore this inner looking, the only perspective that we can ever see as our own. So come to intimately pay attention, become aware of the internal happening of your own inner space. From that position of the silent witness, the knower, that being we understand as self. When you hear this final tap of the singing bowl, shift your attention fully to the sound of the ringing as it comes and goes, as it rings and fades out into the silence. So too allow the dust to settle of your own inner experience and marinate in that calm, that vast space, that nothingness. The beauty of this journey of life is that we are forever in this process of awakening, of unfolding, of coming to new realizations and recognitions and letting go of the old that doesn't serve us. Yet many are in this congested flow, almost like a traffic jam. The pace of life will naturally nudge us towards this lazy, gentle river. But coming to understand the importance and the mastery of self-realization to self-mastery is one that truly will make or break your experience because it gives you the tools to create your own path, to carve out your own river, stemming from source, leading you back into that vast ocean of oneness. So here in this opportunity, this offering, look within your heart. Look within the unique journey that your life has brought you upon, that every moment, every happening has brought you right here to this moment of sitting, of resting, and of looking within. For the journey of self-realization and self-mastery is but the oars to this boat. We can kayak down, we can steer, we can shift and pivot the direction and flow of life and wherever it takes us. For it's this compass of the heart that brings us back to the knowing of ourselves. Self-realization inevitably leads to self-mastery when we assimilate the lessons and knowledge acquired. For wisdom is what is birthed, that application of knowledge. And as we continue to refine our understanding through this truth and action, we can come to recognize the power that arises through this purpose. For self-mastery brings us back to that understanding of our true innate potential, ultimately guiding us back to this point of self-realization where we can discover, where we enter the unknown as we continue to peel the layers back on our understanding of self and life. It's the chisel that allows us to carve out this true, perfect image of our own beingness. And it's one that is guided by the heart itself. Without self-realization, there can never be self-mastery, and without more self-mastery, there can never be self-realization. Picture these two cycles, these two concepts as the infinity loop itself. The more you learn and discover about who and what you are, where your position is in this play of life, and where we stem from, we cascade down into this valley of self-mastery, applying what we know, living life completely differently, for the references and the lenses of perception that we have completely transform the image, not only of ourselves, but the space around us, how we operate, how we interpret information. And in this journey of self-mastery, that truth through action, we come to ultimately apply every ounce of this knowledge into our everyday action. Thus, this process of assimilation brings us to a new mode of life and existence itself. And we come back around in that infinity loop as it leads us to more self-realization, for the new way of life will inevitably lead us to new discoveries, to new experiences, to new opportunities, connections. The potential is really infinite. And that is the beauty of this dance: to realize, to apply, to master, to continue to build understanding, and thus the cycle repeats. One circle twisted to appear as two different forms and modalities of expression and introspection, but ultimately are one and the same. Again, two sides of the same coin. Yet here you yourself are the one that observes both, that seemingly remains unchanging. And that is the beauty of this window of awareness in which we are. That beauty and essence of what life is. For we can only come to fully master ourselves when we recognize and value the unique being we are. That although we may parallel and overlap, that your own window of awareness is unique, is beautiful. That there is nothing that ever holds you back but yourself. So awaken to your power. Come to understand that no matter where you seek to point these tools of introspection, they will lead you to a greater understanding and an opening up of your own beingness. It is with the ultimate point that we can search for God and find ourselves, and search for ourselves and find God, for again, they are one and the same. Everything here swims in the womb of the Creator. Everything in this existence contains that spark of the eternal fire. So take a deep breath here in this ether of energy, this ocean of vitality. From the tip of the toes to the crown of the skull, fill the body up with as much air, prana, chi, it matters not how you see it, as much as you can. And when you feel like the body is filled up, again, take another deep breath. Allow this energy to warm the body and stabilize before effortlessly letting it go. And come back to that knowing of peace and calm. It's here in this realm of exploration of self that we must let go of all assumptions. For any and all concepts of misconception and perception will lead you away from the truth of your own beingness. For the answers are all already inside you. You are the truth itself. But what is that concept and understanding of you identified and attached with and to? Ultimately, the path of self-realization is what allows us to sever those threads of attachment. And self-mastery is but that practice of learning how to walk again without the assistance of such falsehoods. It's almost as if you're a marionette doll, learning how to walk on its own, without the assistance and pulling of the strings by the puppet master. You can see those strings as the attachments, the egoic conditionings, the learned behaviors that you've soaked up indiscriminately. And as you become to realize more and more of your true position in this play, you sever those threads and cords of attachment and identification. Thus, the process of self-mastery teaching you how to be yourself again. Everything is always pointing us inwards. Everything in this journey is always trying to show and reveal that we are already perfect, that we are already that divine light, that nothing and no one can dissuade or take it away from you, but your own beingness itself. So again, take a deep breath here from the tip of the toes to the crown of the skull, breathing through every center, every pore. And when the body is filled up, again, continue to take another breath. And release in one mighty sigh and exhale of relief. Take one more breath in such fashion. And again, when the body is filled, take another deep breath here. And release it all with a mighty sigh of relief. One more final deep breath here. Again, filling the body up again once it's filled up. And releasing all tension and holding the body empty of breath after that sigh of relief. Marinate within your own beingness. Recognize that in this process of self-realization, stillness, effortlessness, simply being, is but the modality that leads us to this recognition. For as you sit and rest and continue to allow the body to breathe how it needs to, the internal happenings may completely drop away. Or you may observe them at more of a distance. It's this ever more important pivotal process of self-realization that brings us to that point of seeing what is real through this recognition of what is not. For when thoughts, the internal environment quiets and drops away, there is still the observer of them. You, that divine window of awareness, that eternal soul in which you are. This is the self we come to master, not the temporary, not the changing, but the eternal presence that is always there, watching, observing, knowing, interpreting. And it's that path of self-realization that strips us away from the self and identification in which we are not. There is nothing to fear ever in this existence. For when you awaken to your eternal divine nature, you come to quickly recognize that this is but a play of light. Or as so often you heard say, love, but in manifestation. And that is the key and root of this practice of self-realization and the art of self-mastery itself. That you will dive deep, and as deep as you can, the more you let go and hold loving space for your own beingness. So remain open, remain pure, let go. All expectation, all judgment, or in other words, all assumptions that you have towards others and towards life. And fall in love with the silence, the pureness of your very being. Harness it. Protect it like a flame in the wind. Give it your full focus and attention. For you have already understood that you are not the mind, that you are not the temporary flaring ups and dwindling down of emotion, nor are you the physical sensations, but you are the observer of the inner and the outer. And ultimately, the choice is always yours, but only for you. And that is the beauty of this inner looking, this introspective search, this direct path. For the only way through is inwards. The only way to build understanding is to come home. Back to the only reference frame you've ever known, your own. And it's this twofold path of self-realization and self-mastery that allow us to strip away the false. So marinate in that recognition. Rest in the pureness of your own being. Allow the realizations that arise from discernment, identifying that in which we're not, to lead us back home to nurturing and fostering and cultivating that light in which we already are. There's nothing that is holding you back but your own limitations created through the imagination. So abandon all assumptions, for they do not serve you and your highest purpose or self. You are the divine light of love that stems from source, for all is the creator. Let go of any and all tensions that hold you from resisting such a concept. For in reality, this is the only truth we can ever come to know. But the intimacy, the depth of this exploration and knowing is infinite. And the beauty of this experience called life is that we get to come to understand it from our own unique perspective that one-of-a-kind window of awareness that allows this eternal flow to flow through us, that allows us to observe the divine itself. So what is it that holds you back? What aspects of this temporary experience pull you away from this eternal knowing? Continue to identify that which takes you away from the pureness of your very being, the effortless flow of existence, and let it go. Be aware, for when you see, you cannot unsee. And when you apply what you know, life will reward you with that and everything which you seek. When you hear the final tap of the singing bowl, take a loving deep breath in, filling yourself up with as much of that love and light as you can. And as you exhale again, release and transform it into a mighty and powerful Om. As you proclaim that knowing of the heart, that dedication to self-realization and self-mastery, that unification of these two expressions of the direct path and spiritual search. Allow yourself to release the breath, taking an exhale here. Namaste. I bow to the divine within you. And thank you so much for tapping in and tuning in to the early rendition of our Wednesday satsang. Don't forget to smash that like. And that's always the most important recognition that can lead to a huge cul-de-sac in truth, is that when we have these awakenings, when we become self-realized, many people think that that's the peak, that that's it. And they get trapped in that recognition that we are gods and goddesses, that they interpret the oneness as I am God, and they personify it, they personalize it, and it just becomes another trap, another identity. But that's the beauty of self-realization and self-mastery, when you see them as two sides of the same coin, because they lead you back to one another naturally. When you come to understand that self-realization just brings us to the point of understanding our position in the play, and self-mastery allows us to master that role. Thus, we come into a term that I love, and it's finding your power through purpose. And as you continue that cycle, this ebb and flow of self-realization leading to self-mastery, and that application of self-mastery leads us back to self-realization, because it's the you can almost call it the engine, the locomotion, the modality of evolution itself. And that's juicy. So explore it. Continue to dance and know that the unfoldment in which you're partaking in is infinite. It's the infinite onion, baby. Just keep peeling back them layers, and every aspect will become more and more beautiful. I promise you that. The pain of self-realization that arises is really just letting go of the old that doesn't serve us. It's putting down the old identifications. But when you really approach this in that loving fashion, you know it's all meant to strip us away from what we're not, that's always holding us back from that eternal truth that we always are and will be. But as we build our understanding, we gain more appreciation and gratitude for it. We learn to dance with it and not against it. and life becomes very magical. And I like to always coin it as life becomes cinematic. As the divine film it is, it just unfolds more and more beauty. So much so that there's a popular phrase in the men's group that I have established and have shared, and you can't make this shit up. Life will just open up to some dope stuff. So if you're in the Seattle area, don't hesitate to reach out. And if you want to partake in the men's group, I got you. We're all brothers here. And if you're one of the sisters out there, let me know. I also have those connections for women who are leading the sisters groups. So, well, I was doing some meditation before this one out in the sun, and I gotta say, life is so beautiful. So continue to dance your dance, you beautiful soul. I love you so much. And remember, with the fruit of knowledge may you offer a seed, and in that seed may your love, will, and intuition give life and nourishment. For a tree shall grow, and in its shade may you find peace, and offer peace to all whom ask. Namaste. I bow to the divine within you. I love you so much. Take care. I'll see you Sunday, baby, for another beautiful satsang offering. So don't forget, if you got questions, type them in the comments, email them, check out the IG and all the cool social medias down in the description. Donate if you can. Do what you can. It's all good. I love you anyways, and I'll always love you because that's all there is, baby. Peace.